The Senate has voted to move ahead with a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package. In a 67-32 procedural vote late Wednesday, 17 Republicans joined all Democrats to begin debate on the bill. It came just hours after negotiators announced an agreement on the major issues of the plan following months of discussions. For more now, let's bring in CBS News Natalie Brand at the White House. Natalie, explain to us what just happened on the Senate floor and what happens next.
Well, Lana, good to be with you. This is a big step, but it is just the first step. So what we have here, as you outlined earlier on Wednesday, we learned that the bipartisan group of Senate negotiators had struck agreement on some of their outstanding issues regarding this smaller bipartisan physical infrastructure package that has been negotiated and backed by the White House. So now what we have is senators, enough of them, more than 60, agreeing to move forward to debate on this physical infrastructure package. But this is a process that has many more procedural steps ahead and could actually drag out for days, if not longer, perhaps a week. And already we've heard the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, put lawmakers on notice that August recess could be delayed because, again, as he's expressed, he wants to move forward with infrastructure before senators leave. But then, separate from this physical infrastructure package, we have what's being called the human infrastructure package, the separate $3.5 trillion budget resolution that Senate Democrats hope to pass through that process known as reconciliation. But, Lana, today we learned that Arizona Democrat Kyrsten Sinema announced she does not support that reconciliation, the budget resolution, in its current form. So that signals that there are negotiations ahead on that separate package and then negotiations ahead on this physical infrastructure package, because we're already hearing some pushback from both conservatives, Republican senators, and then also progressive Democratic senators. President Biden even acknowledged that there is going to be more compromise needed ahead. He released a statement earlier touting this deal moving forward, but also saying, that this is the first step in a longer process and that they will need more work ahead, more compromise to be forged, he said.
Natalie, the vote, which just took place, 67-32, as our viewers likely know, the measure needed 60 votes in order to advance to actually debating the measure on the floor. Were you surprised by any of the names, or that in fact the benchmark of 60 votes was more than surpassed by Republican support?
And that is significant. It signals that this was a broad bipartisan compromise. And really, the lawmakers who were negotiating this set the tone earlier when they announced this deal. It's clear that behind the scenes, they got additional members on board. But then there are other members Republicans, who are concerned about the price tag. They've expressed that. They're also concerned about not seeing the text, all of the details of the bill. So that signals that this is not yet a done deal, and there could be some procedural hiccups, if you will, as things move forward. But overall, again, this is a big moment from where we were just a week ago when the same procedural vote failed to move forward with some of those negotiators saying, GOP negotiators saying they needed more time to work out those details. They were hopeful that would come by early this week. Here we are Wednesday, and a major step forward. But again, important to keep in mind just the first step forward.
Certainly a lot of details still ahead. I did think it was interesting and telling on the bipartisan nature of the bill that Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, the head of the Republicans in the Senate Republicans, did vote in favor of advancing debate. That doesn't mean that he's ultimately going to vote in favor of passage, but it certainly did reinforce the idea of bipartisanship in terms of this physical infrastructure. I know that the bill that this measure just advanced. Have we gotten any word at all from the White House, where you are right now, reacting?
Well, again, the president released a statement that was touting a deal finally being struck, noting some steps remain ahead. And the White House put out a fact sheet touting that this will be around $550 billion in new federal spending. They're calling this historic investment in public transit, in bridge repair. We know that broadband was a big issue negotiated in this, and some initial steps to address climate. Again, to your point about the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell getting on board, he announced that via Twitter ahead of this vote. And that also speaks to, I think, some of the last-minute wrangling behind the scenes that went on to get this across the finish line today. We know that some of the outstanding issues were, of course, what they always are: how are you going to pay for the bill, and what is the final details on each provision line by line. But it looks like this group has gotten this legislation in a good place to move forward. Now the question becomes, really, how does this negotiation intersect with the arguably much more difficult negotiation on the Senate reconciliation bill, and are enough do all Senate Democrats get on board with that? Because, as we've noted, Democrats could not afford to lose one vote if they're going to pass this with just a simple majority. We're looking at a 50-50 Senate. So all Senate Democrats are going to have to be on board with that. And Senator Sinema signaling earlier today that she's not quite there is a big clue that there is a lot of work to be done behind the scenes all the way around.
Certainly. The moment wasn't lost on Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who immediately started talking about wanting to pass both of those infrastructure bills simultaneously. Natalie Brand, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.